Griffin. I'm Thomas Dunn.
I'm Riley.
It's nice to have you here today. So, as you know, we have agreed to 4 counseling sessions.
Yes.
Where we're going to be recorded, and I'm a counselor in training, so I'm trying to learn how this works. And so, what brings you in today?
I just feel like I'm having a real problem with my everyday stress, as well as my stress when it comes to like bigger moments in my life, or like bigger events I have to do. Any speaking in front of people, I've got interviews coming up, and I just like really struggle with maintaining my composure and getting through those situations.
So tell me a little bit more about what happens whenever you go to an interview or whenever you go and speak in front of people.
Okay, so my blood pressure gets extremely high, and I get hives, and I just get really, really nervous, and sometimes it's hard to like say the things I'm trying to think in my head. Like, it doesn't come out because it's rushed, because I'm panicking. So
Panicking. So how do you mean panicking?
I think that my thoughts get jumbled in my head. I'm not physically panicking, but like internally panicking.
Right. So whenever you go for an interview, whenever you have a speech in front of people, your words get jumbled up in your brain. They don't come out exactly how you intended it.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. So what about the other overall stress that you have?
That's pretty much day to day. I get really overwhelmed quickly, like with the dishes at home, or with my classes, keeping on top of my schoolwork, things like that. It just is really overwhelming, and sometimes I shut down and just don't do the things I need to do because I'm really overwhelmed, so I just don't do anything.
Okay. So your overwhelm leads to you shutting down.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about what you do to try to overcome that stress. Do you have a plan? Do you have people, like, what do you do to try to calm down?
I think that's a major problem, is that I don't have like real like tactics in the moment to calm down. If I'm thinking about it, I can think, oh, you need to do this or this, but in the moment, all of that goes out the window, and it's just kind of like telling myself, like, okay, calm down, but that doesn't necessarily work. So.
Mm-hmm. So in the moment is some of the problem.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just like once the anxiety gets up there, it's hard to bring it back down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So high anxiety during the moment. Okay. And so, can you elaborate a little bit more about can you tell me about some past experiences for interviews, like where like it went wrong?
Okay, so like I went into the meeting, and I had things, you pretty much know like generally what people are going to ask you in an interview. So I had like things rehearsed in my head, like answers I was going to say if they said this or that. And then they did say one of the answers that I had practiced in my head. And then once they said it, I almost totally forgot what they were asking. And then it just got, my answer, it was very frustrating. I had it like, I knew what I was going to say, and then it just went out the window and I said something else.
So it like blocked you almost.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So would you say that was frustrating in that moment?
Yes, especially once I finished my answer, and then after I answered, I remembered what I was supposed to say, and then I was like, oh.
No. So do you have a lot of anxiety leading up to those moments? Or?
Yes, that's the main issue, is like the I guess what is the word, like I don't know, but it's like the waiting for whatever I'm going to do is so much worse than actually doing it. So like in interviews, at the doctor, a test, all of it is worse before than it actually is doing it. It's like the anticipation is where the anxiety is.
Right. Okay. And so whenever you're taking your steps to get prepared, like how is it each and every process you're getting more and more anxious, or because you say it builds up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're anticipating,
Yes.
you're building up to that moment. Is that what does your process look like getting to that moment?
I think a lot of the time that's why I put things out of my brain for so long, because as soon as I start thinking about it, like that's when it begins. So it might be a month away, but if I start thinking about it now, then it's like that anxiety is already there. So that's why I kind of put things off, so I don't have to feel that feeling like until the last minute, which I know it makes it worse, but
you're delaying the inevitable, I guess you'd say.
yes.
Okay. And so, tell me a little bit more about anything that you do to de-stress. How do you de-stress?
I'd say when I'm at home and I'm able to like do some things, I try to go on a walk, or I'll try to read a book. I like to pet my cat. He makes me feel calm. And if I'm in the moment, there's not a lot you can do, because you're like in a situation like we are now where it's like I can't go anywhere or do anything. You just have to kind of like tell yourself to like breathe, calm down, like things like that. So it's much easier to manage when I'm alone or in a comfortable space.
Okay. Alone and comfortable, much easier to manage. So tell me a little bit more about what books you like to read.
Well, I really like things that are not real. So like fantasy genre, or like anything that's couldn't really happen in real life, because I think that helps me with my stress the most, because I just want to escape for a little bit. Like I don't want to live the real life in a book if I'm already living it in real life. So
Right.
I think that helps me.
Okay. So why do you think escaping this reality is what gets you calm?
I don't know. I guess and I know a lot of people can't like detach from their stress, but I feel like if I'm in a book, or if I'm just watching a show or doing something else, I can kind of just separate from reality a little bit, which like I said is not healthy, because it gets me into like situations, but so I'll put things off too long. But I definitely think it just lets me be away from my thoughts a little bit.
And so you have a cat.
Yes.
Tell me about your cat.
Well, I rescued him when he was 4 weeks old, and he was bottle fed. So he's very special to me, because that situation caused me a lot of anxiety. So I feel like we were trauma bonded a little bit, because I thought he was going to die all the time.
Mm-hmm. And so you were the one doing the bottle feeding?
Yes.
So that really brought out that bond between you and the cat?
Yes.
Okay. So is he almost more than a pet to you?
Yes, he's like a little family member.
Okay. And he helps you through these day-to-day stresses.
I read one time, I was reading about what I could do to like help manage my blood pressure or my stress, and it said that if you have a cat, your blood pressure is likely to be lower, which obviously not in my case, but it makes me feel like maybe I'm lowering my blood pressure if I'm petting him.
So you say not in your case, so can you explain that a little bit?
Well, I have like chronic high blood pressure, like I was diagnosed with it, so there's nothing. I take medicine for it, but I think there's like a difference in anxiety and blood pressure. Like your, you know, it's one's in your brain and one's actually your body. So the anxiety really escalates my blood pressure. So, but I think that having my cat around is a good reminder that I can, like stressful situations can resolve because he did make it through his being so tiny.
So to recap, so leading up to big events, you kind of push it off. Your stress is building throughout this entire time. You try to escape through books or through your cat, and you are trying to keep the stress at bay as long as possible.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. And whenever you get in those moments, whenever you get into the interview, you get into the meetings, you've had all this, you've prepared, you go through all these topics, you know which questions they're going to ask, and it still is a struggle, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Well, is there anything else that is on your mind?
I don't really think so. Like I said, this the stress and anxiety, it really leaks over into all areas of my life, and it kind of becomes overwhelming. So I could talk about it forever because it affects all parts of my life, but that's my reason for coming here today.
Okay. Well, as we move forward through this process, hopefully we can get some ideas and some stress relief, and figure out how to fight that stress before we get to those points. Get some tactics to where we can manage the stress a little bit better.
Yes, that would be great.
Sound good?
Yes.
All right. Well, it was good to see you today.
Yes, you too.